So, these concepts are not hard to fathom, are easy to grapple with, and uh, I'm very much opposed. And given I was not instructed really beyond but the basics, how to use a microwave, I was not taught to drive by either of my parents or taught any moral specifics or pointed in any specific direction. Some pressure I felt to demonstrate to society that I would take after my mother by working in healthcare in some way. And I did think to myself as well that it would be a religious free opportunity. Um, but then I discovered it to be a bit worse because there's more concealment with, there's vastly more assumption from people going, "Can you trust? I, I trust you with my health. Will you help me?" Um, the opportunity to exploit them um, when they're vulnerable. It's back charged by this ridiculous story that they admire human sacrifice. Christianity is a cult of human sacrifice. It may not be one where human sacrifice is the bulk of all sermons, but it is a religion that purports to drive it into your head that one human sacrifice was genuinely successful and worked and was right and was the right thing to do. Uh, but if you if opposites attract, and as we see religious criminals needing to be confronted and having their morals challenged, and then they break down, and then we learn that religion was their motive all along. Um, how much this goes on, and the PC idea that we'd be sensitive to everyone's religion, even if the religion says if you have 50 shekels and you find an unpledged virgin around, just pay the 50 shekels to her father. You can rape her and she will be your wife. Uh, um, and stay with you for as long as she lives, as long as you live. Now, why wouldn't an officer of the law want to read that section of the Bible and then charge God in their minds or in their hearts or in the back of their conscience? What you get in Genesis is concealment of a ridiculous lunatic state story that creation in the image of God is like cover up speech for uh, incest was necessary for the survival of the race. Let's applaud our proud inbreeding predecessors. Um, so of course they repeat the same pattern again in the Gospels concerning the story of Christ. The highest and most well thoroughly researched opinions and conclusions from the Jesus seminar uh, at Bible universities in the States is that John is the last written of the four in the canon. Mark's written first, Mark in the possession of Luke and Matthew when they wrote Luke and Matthew about 10 years later. And then in 95 AD, you got John. But this idea, like yes, it's concealment of beliefs like John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that all who believe in him shall not perish but have eternal life. A policeman believing in that belief, but knowing they can't say it to your face without violating the Religious Discrimination Act, will then grab you and manhandle you unnecessarily. That's their concealment of a dodgy motive, and that John 3:16 is this idea that Jesus was on a mission to sacrifice himself. It's biphobia, and just the word supernatural is oxymoronic because we can only comprehend what's of nature. So to go beyond it is bad.